Hi, good morning. Thanks for clicking on to the Saturday edition of Rogan's UK, Europe, and Global Outlook for today. Hope everybody is enjoying the start of their weekend thus far. Certainly, plenty of tremendous heat across, particularly France and Spain at the moment, but not exclusively. We're seeing heat up into the central portion of Europe as well, with Alpine regions and Germany seeing temperatures well into the 30s Celsius over the last day or so. But the temperatures peaked yesterday as expected in parts of southern Spain, where the high in Andajar was 42.3 Celsius. So a tremendously hot day across the south central portion of Spain. And we've seen some monthly records fall in Seville, for example, 41 degrees Celsius, and even a few other places that reached the 40 Celsius level. Even 10,000 feet above sea level was seen the temperature of 9.2 Celsius recorded in Austria, which is just shy of a May record. I know 7,500 feet up in Pic du Midi in the French Alps, the temperature didn't drop below 10 Celsius, which I believe is a record. I'll be keeping our eyes on the temperature today. If the conditions are right, we could be pushing the 18 Celsius record for the month of May in this particular high elevation spot. So certainly remarkable stuff indeed. We've seen Morocco reach an all-time May record yesterday at 45.7 Celsius. And this is, of course, the source region of the amount of hot air that's coming up through Spain and France, where temperatures reached the mid-30s yesterday. It's all originating in the northwestern corner of Africa, so no real surprise that the temperature reached a new May record in the source region around Morocco and into Algeria. So, yeah, certainly very, very hot times to come. The heat is gradually starting to transfer northwards. You can see here, this is off the GFS chart here, that while temperatures are warm in some spots in the UK, cool in other spots, especially down the eastern side of the UK, as winds turn more westerly off the Atlantic, we're going to see the coolest temperatures compared to normal over the western side of the British Isles, warmest over the Grampians, over the Pennines, and down towards the coast. We could be seeing the warmest temperatures in the UK today. But the focus of hottest air is actually transferring out of southern Spain into the north of Spain and into southern and central France, where temperatures could push the upper 30s today in areas of northern Spain and southern France, into Austria and Switzerland. We could be talking about record-breaking temperatures here also. As I look at this is off the GFS as well, but this is the 500 millibar chart here. You can see here the setup that we've got going at the moment. We've got a little cut-off area of low pressure approaching Iberia, and of course we've got the trough with low pressure near Iceland, starting to pull winds more westerly for the UK. So we're starting to. It's always been the way, it seems to be anyway, that the Atlantic is always trying to push the heat that's wanting to lift north out of Africa towards the British Isles. There's always that deflection from the Atlantic. So it's kind of, in a sense, getting deflected into the continent as opposed to coming northwards over the British Isles and Scotland. So the highest temperature of the year so far in Scotland is only 21 Celsius. The highest for England, 27.5 at Heathrow. And this tremendous amount of heat that's built up over the southwest of Europe is not going to progress into the UK, because we've got the influence of low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. So we've got that continuous deflection, so to speak, off the Atlantic. So it's pushing the hottest air into the central portion of the continent, where we're seeing records falling, of course. And of course, with this upper level trough, we're then focusing the core of highest pressure and the strongest warmth now up into the north of Spain, southern France. As we play through the loop here, this is off the operational, of course. You've got that little feature now coming into the north of Portugal focus of heat now over France, really. And as we press in towards the latter half of this weekend, so into tomorrow and into particularly early next week, we've actually got quite a drop off in temperature because we're going to start to see the troughiness and the depth of trough start to infiltrate into the British Isles. It essentially cuts off the heat, even in Spain, Portugal, France, Central Europe, where it's been so hot in recent days. We're going to really temper things down. Conditions start to deteriorate. We're going to see more in the way of unsettled conditions, rainy conditions, wind, and almost unseasonably cool temperatures for a period of time through early and middle next week. And you can see here the trough coming right over the British Isles, all extending right the way down into Spain and Portugal, so the temperatures are coming back down here once again as well. Gone is the heat, but it's short-lived. It's a transient pattern, so we're going to start to see the trough pushing eastwards, and that will be replaced by once again that area of Azores high pressure. It builds into the UK. We've still got that kind of flat trough with ridge underneath. We've got the most unsettled conditions potentially across the far north of the UK. Always drier, brighter, sunnier, warmer across southern portions of the UK here, as you can see here. And then as we press towards the end of May, things get slightly more interesting. Now, this is one model run. We are going to, of course, see chopping and changing. But notice here that the GFS operational is indicating the high going up towards Iceland, troughiness over Europe, and we've almost got the classic pattern that you would dream of in the month of January. We've got the ridge way to the north, trough underneath, sliding westwards, and look at that there. What a difference this would be if it materialised. But the problem is that if you look at the GFS ensemble, it is a completely different story for the end of May and the beginning of June here. Let's have a look at the GFS ensemble. Look at the same period. Look at the difference. Big ridge of high pressure, almost over the UK, providing warmer than normal conditions. The operational, very different indeed. So the modelling is waxing and waning with its solution. The chances are that we're leaning probably more towards ridging and warmth for the beginning of June. But there's a lot of uncertainty in this pattern here, folks. The warm waters that we've got surrounding the UK at the moment can have two effects. It can boost atmospheric pressure. It can also decrease atmospheric pressure and enhance rainfall. So these are all part of the complex things that go into forecasting. Very, very difficult. It's hard for the models to sometimes see a pattern, especially when you've got different things to look at, including Mann-Julian oscillation, its behaviour down in the tropics, thousands of miles away. All these things can have a big impact, and you could think it's going for one kind of type of scenario or solution, and it has a completely different outcome in reality. So I'm trying to really understand exactly where we're going as we end the month of May and begin the month of June here. Looking at the GFS, this is the operational here, and you can see here we're back and forth between warmer and cooler than normal, but then at the end of the loop, as we end the month of May, begin the month of June, look at this here, look at the chilliness that now starts to develop over the UK and over much of Northern and Central Europe here. That is a very, very different idea to what the GFS ensemble has. We'll have a look at the 2 meter temperature anomalies here for the GFS ensemble. Let's look at the 5-day increments here because it is quite different, quite interesting as well. So of course the upcoming day 1 through 5 looks like this here. We're starting to see the heat getting tempered across Spain and France. Looking at day 6 to 10, we're starting to see the cool now developing across central and northern portions of Europe. Still warmer than normal across the south, France, Spain and Portugal. As you can see, day 11 to 15, we've got warmer than normal across the western portion of the UK, well, should I say western portion of Europe overall. So yeah, there's a lot of things to look at. There's nothing clear cut when it comes to the end of month solution. But of course, keep it right here on my YouTube channel, on marvelgoodweather.com as well. The record heat, by the way, that we've seen and we are seeing over southwestern Europe. Nothing particularly surprising. It was actually alluded to in my May outlook that we had the potential for some very intense warmth mid and late month, and we could revert to all of a sudden summer level heat, and that is of course the case at the moment. So I'm not particularly surprised at what we're seeing at the moment, but I still think it's very much open to question. The end of the month, what exactly do we see? So yeah, keep it right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Please always drop a comment and like, share, and subscribe for the very latest. Have a great day. Bye for now.